I don't recommend removing any of the fuses, which is Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. We have a new video from Dubai Offroaders where we're going to be talking about the 3 things that you have to do before starting your off-road adventure. First one being deflating your tires. So why do we deflate our tires? When you're driving on the sand, you're constantly balancing traction and power. If you have too much traction, not enough power, your car's not going to move. If you have too much power, not enough traction, you're going to spin your tires and actually dig in instead of moving forward. So for us to be successfully be able to balance these two, we let some air out to increase the surface area of our tires. A good thing to note is it's actually the length of the surface area that you're increasing, not the width, because the way the tire's tread pattern is designed, it actually comes back to more or less the same width even when deflated. But it's the length you increase and obviously make your tire a bit softer so it can move around with the surface. The second thing that you have to do, now depending on what your transfer case is designed like, you are either going to be running on 4 high, or you will have to engage your central diff lock if you have an all-wheel drive car. So if you have a full-time 4-wheel drive car like mine, you will put it in HL, or you will sometimes have a button for central diff lock, and that will give you a great advantage when you're out in the dunes. Third, and this is something which often gets overlooked, is using the manual mode of your car. So I have a manual car, so for me, I'm forced to use the gears. But even if you have an automatic car, you have to use the gears. So most modern cars, 4x4s, have a Triptronic or a manual function. Now, the reason why we use that is we're going to cover it in a different video. So please stay tuned in to our channel. What are diff locks and what is the 4 high speed range and 4 low speed range? Again, this will be covered in a different video. So just stay tuned in. Now let's go inside the car and see how these things look like. So we're inside the car now. We're using Nick's car since he has an automatic and he has a dashboard which looks very similar to most of your cars. Mine is a bit different because it has a kill switch, and again, that's something that we can talk about later. For now, this is your transfer case knob. Sometimes you have a small lever on here, which is again your transfer case lever. This helps you toggle between H4 and L4. Now this is the high speed range and 4 speed range. So as you can see, it's always on the high speed range. That means that this car is a full-time 4-wheel drive. When it's a full-time 4-wheel drive, all the wheels have the capability of getting the power. The power distribution is not necessarily forced on any of the wheels. When you press this button, so this is what it looks like, and it has an X in the center. That is your central diff lock. What that does is it forces 50% power in the front and 50% power in the back, and that allows you to tackle dunes much easier than you would normally be able to. Second one, so this, as you can see, you have the drive function right here. When you reach the drive function, if you push it to the left, you have a S and you have plus and minus. This is essentially your manual mode. You will go all the way to D, push it to the left. To gear up, you will push it up, and to gear down, you will push it down. Finally, let's talk about the traction control button. Right here, now depending on where it is in your car, but it will always look the same. It looks like a car skidding, and it says off at the bottom. This is your traction control button off. Some cars have traction control and ESP, which is your electronic stability program, or it can also be written as ESC, which is your electronic stability control. If you have both these functions and if you can switch them off, you want to switch both of them off. Again, we'll get into details of why you would switch it off, but the main thing is the traction control is designed to get your car stable. So when you're on the road and it starts to skid, it will apply automatic braking and automatic acceleration to get your car straight. When you're out in the dunes and let's say you're driving sideways and it automatically brakes, that's going to be bad for you, and you don't want that. So you want to try and take out all the electronics that you can from your car. I don't recommend removing any of the fuses, which is something a lot of people do. But I don't recommend that, because unless you're very knowledgeable about your car and you absolutely know what you're doing, you can mess something up. And when you're out here in the sand, you don't want to damage your car in any way. If it gets immobilized, then you're in big trouble, and we don't want that at all. As always, thanks for tuning in. A lot of cars are quite different to what we demonstrated on. You might not be able to find these buttons very easily, but they're all there. They might even function a little differently in your car. So it's good to familiarize yourself with your car before you go for an off-road adventure. We cover all of these things in detail in our beginner course. So if you're interested in learning about them through me, you're most welcome to join that. Please subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. And thanks for tuning in again.